Here's something most people have never checked. The little can of baking powder in your cupboard probably contains aluminum. Yes, the same metal as the foil in your kitchen drawer. It's listed right there on the label as sodium aluminum sulfate, and it's the standard acid in most baking powder sold in America. And get this, a Harvard chemist figured out how to make baking powder without any aluminum back in the 1850s, more than 160 years ago. And that clean version sits on the same shelf today for about the same price. The aluminum is a choice, it's not yours. So today we're walking through 5 baking powder brands you should skip, and 5 that are actually pure. If you're tired of being lied to, smash subscribe. You're going to want to share this one. Here's the thing about baking powder. All it needs to be is 3 simple things: baking soda, an acid to react with it, and a little starch to keep it dry. When the acid is something like cream of tartar or monocalcium phosphate, you've got a clean, pure baking powder. But the big brands mostly use a different acid: sodium aluminum sulfate, an aluminum compound. They use it because it's cheap and it delays the rise until the oven heats up. The trade-off is that aluminum can leave a faint metallic bitter taste in what you bake. The chemical aftertaste a lot of people notice and can't name. Now let me be fair, because this matters. No one has proven that the aluminum in baking powder causes any disease. The research on aluminum and conditions like Alzheimer's is debated and unsettled. But 2 things aren't debated: it can taste metallic, and there's 0 reason you need to eat aluminum when the clean versions cost the same. Let's name names. Number 5 is the cheapest can in the cart, the store brands, like Walmart's Great Value Double Acting. It's $1 or $2, it's in every supermarket, and it does the job. Look at the ingredient list. Like most store brand double acting powders, it's built on sodium aluminum sulfate, the same aluminum acid as the name brands, only with a generic label and a lower price. You're not avoiding anything by going cheap here. You're getting the identical aluminum for less. It won't hurt you tonight, but you're paying even a little to eat aluminum you don't need, when the aluminum-free can is sitting 2 feet away for nearly the same money. Number 4 is the old school name, KC Baking Powder, one of those brands that looks like it's been around forever, and it has, but the formula is the same old story. Look at the label and you'll find sodium aluminum sulfate, right alongside the baking soda and cornstarch. The vintage can and the heritage feel don't change what's inside. It's an aluminum-based double-acting powder, the same as the rest of the conventional shelf. There's nothing special being protected here by tradition. It's the standard aluminum formula in a nostalgic costume. The history is charming, the ingredient isn't. Number 3 is the quiet workhorse a lot of recipes call for by name, Davis Baking Powder. It's been a kitchen staple for generations, and plenty of older cookbooks list it specifically. Look at the ingredient list: cornstarch, baking soda or sodium aluminum sulfate, monocalcium phosphate. There's the aluminum again, doing the same job it does in every conventional can. Davis isn't worse than the others. It's one more aluminum powder wearing a trusted name. What makes this particularly worth a mention is how automatic it is. People buy Davis because the recipe said Davis. Never turn the can over, turn it over. If this is already saving you from a bad shop, do me a favor and hit subscribe. We publish one of these every week. Number 2 is the most trusted red can in America, Clabber Girl, the one in your grandmother's kitchen and probably yours. And the regular double-acting Clabber Girl is built on sodium aluminum sulfate. The real kicker is this: the very same company that makes Clabber Girl also owns and makes Rumford, a completely aluminum-free baking powder. They know exactly how to make it without the metal. They just sell you the aluminum version under the more famous label because it's cheaper to produce. So this isn't a company that doesn't know better. It's one that makes both and lets you grab the aluminum one by default. The fix is the same brand family, a different can. And the worst of the bunch, number 1, is the classic that practically defined the metallic baking powder taste, Calumet, now owned by Kraft Heinz. It's been around since the 1880s, and it's the one a lot of old-timers remember as tasting faintly of tin. Look at the ingredient list: sodium aluminum sulfate and calcium sulfate, a double dose of the stuff. And here's your overseas comparison. Around 2012, Europe tightened its rules on aluminum-based food additives, specifically to cut how much aluminum people eat. Here, it's still the default acid in the baking powder aisle, just not here. And here's the kicker: you don't have to buy any of this. Real baking powder is 2 things you probably already own: mix cream of tartar with baking soda, add a pinch of cornstarch if you're storing it, and you've made your own aluminum-free for pennies. We'll put the exact ratio in the description. When the leavening in your biscuits is an aluminum salt you can taste, that's not baking, and it's a chemistry shortcut, and it's robbing you of a clean, honest rise. Now the good news, because pure aluminum-free baking powder is everywhere once you start reading cans. Number 5 is the easy budget pick. The store brand aluminum-free powders like Whole Foods 365 and Trader Joe's. Yes, some store brands actually do this right. Here's why it works. Flip over the 365 aluminum-free can and the whole list is cornstarch, monocalcium phosphate, and baking soda. That's it. No aluminum, clean acid, and a price that barely differs from the conventional stuff. It proves you don't have to spend more to skip the metal. If you've got one of these grocers nearby, this is the no-brainer swap. Same job, same price, none of the aluminum. Read the front for the words aluminum free and you're done. Number 4 is the one with a wonderful backstory, Bakewell Cream out of Bangor, Maine. During the Second World War, when baking powder and cream of tartar were scarce, a Maine inventor named Byron Smith created a substitute so New England bakers could keep making biscuits. It's been a regional secret ever since. Here's why it works. Bakewell Cream is built on sodium pyrophosphate and cornstarch, with no aluminum at all, and combined with baking soda, it makes some of the most tender biscuits you'll ever eat. New England biscuit makers special order it for a reason. It's a specialty item. You'll mostly find it online or in the Northeast, but it's a genuine piece of clean baking history. If you take your biscuits seriously, it's worth the hunt. Number 3 is the pick for anyone watching their heart, Hain Featherweight. This one is special because it's not only aluminum free, it's sodium free too, which almost no baking powder is. Here's why it works. Look at the ingredient list. Monocalcium phosphate, potato starch, and potassium bicarbonate instead of sodium bicarbonate. That swap means it leavens your baking without adding sodium, which matters a lot if you or someone you cook for is managing blood pressure. No aluminum, no sodium, a clean rise. You'll find it in the baking or health aisle and online. For the millions of us told to watch our salt, this is the one baking powder built with you in mind. Number 2 is the accessible all-rounder, Bob's Red Mill, with Bob Moore's bearded face on the package. Bob built his mill on doing things the honest way, and his baking powder is no exception. Here's why it works. Bob's makes an aluminum-free double-acting powder, sodium acid pyrophosphate, baking soda, cornstarch, and monocalcium phosphate. So you get that delayed 2-stage rise without the metal, plus it's non-GMO and gluten-free. In the company's own words, it's built to skip the metallic aftertaste. And if this ranking is useful, hit the like button. It really helps the channel cut through the algorithm. You'll find Bob's in nearly every grocery store, blue label and all. It's the easiest aluminum-free upgrade that still acts like the conventional stuff. And the best of the bunch, number 1, is the original and still the gold standard, Rumford. Here's the story. Back in the 1850s, a Harvard chemistry professor named Eben Horsford set out to build a better baking powder, and he was so taken with it that he left his Harvard chair to manufacture it. He replaced the old acid with calcium phosphate and created the first aluminum-free baking powder in America. Here's why it works. More than 160 years later, Rumford is still only cornstarch, baking soda, and monocalcium phosphate. No aluminum ever. It carries one of the oldest labels in the entire grocery store, and bakers and cookbooks have trusted it for generations for clean flavor. It's in practically every supermarket, usually right next to the aluminum cans, for about the same price. This is the one. The original pure baking powder, invented by a scientist who thought you deserved better. The baking powder aisle is a quiet battle between a clean rise and an aluminum shortcut, between soda, a simple acid, and a little starch, and the metal salt most brands reach for to save a few cents. On one side, the trusted red cans, the nostalgic labels, and the store brands all leaning on sodium aluminum sulfate. On the other, a Harvard chemist's original, a wartime Maine invention, a sodium-free option for your heart, and store brands that finally got it right. Remember the worst of what we saw. A baking powder you can taste the metal in, the kind Europe moved to cut years ago. And remember the best and the clean can, whose entire list is soda, starch, and a phosphate. So here's the wisdom to take to the store. Turn the can over and look for 2 words on the front, aluminum free. If it says that, you're set. If you see sodium aluminum sulfate in the ingredients, put it back. There's a clean version inches away for the same money. Pure baking powder is soda, acid, and starch. Everything else is metal you'll taste and never need it. Drop the baking powder brand you still trust in the comments. We're building the list with you. Hit subscribe if this changed how you shop today. We'll see you in the next aisle.